In this demo, we are going to create a dashboard to monitor sensor data we are collecting from one of our data centers. We will build this dashboard using Splunk Dashboard Studio, a new dashboarding framework with the flexibility and out-of-the-box tools to easily create visually compelling, customized dashboards. When you're creating a dashboard with Dashboard Studio, you have the option between absolute layout, where you can freely place, resize, and layer objects, and grid layout, which provides quicker organization of your visualizations with automatic resizing and snap to alignment. For our data center sensors dashboard, we are going to use absolute layout. The first thing we're going to do is switch the theme for this dashboard from light to dark mode. Then we'll adjust the display mode to be fit to width so that the dashboard will resize to our viewers' monitors. You can also specify canvas size in pixels and background color, but we're going to leave those and we're just going to upload a background image instead. Now there's some space at the bottom of the canvas that isn't covered by the background image, and we can change that easily by changing the image setting to cover. Next, we'll add an image that represents the server room that we want to monitor. We'll move it to the bottom left corner, and then we're going to resize it so it takes up a good portion of the dashboard. There are 3 high-level KPIs we want prominently displayed on top. We'll start by adding a single value visualization to the dashboard. By default, you'll be prompted to create a new data source to power this visualization, but I've already set up the data sources we'll need, so we'll skip this view and we'll go ahead and add that data source. This first KPI will be to monitor power utilization, so we will select the power utilization data source, and we will title our visualization as such. We'll move it to the top left corner of this dashboard and resize it. And now we're going to format this single value by changing the trend to display as a %. You can dynamically color different parts of the single value visualization, but we're going to focus on coloring the trend. Since we're in dark mode, we want lighter colors for better contrast. We also want the trend to be green when decreasing because we don't want to be using a lot of power. And as the last step, we'll change the background color to black. Now we're going to repeat the same process to add 2 other KPIs for water capacity and for room temperature. To ensure that these are all the same size, we can bulk edit by either multi-selecting or dragging to highlight these 3 visualizations and specifying the height and width. Next, we're going to add a single value visualization to display the current time. I've set up a data source that returns the current time formatted as both a timestamp and as a string. You can then choose which resulting field you want to display in the single value visualization. I've set up this query so that it refreshes every 1 second to give us the current time. Next, we want to see the power usage per rack over time, so we'll do that in an area chart. We'll add an area chart and wire up the corresponding data source for power usage. And we'll adjust the size and change the stack mode so that it's easier to distinguish between the different series. Now we want to adjust the background color, the series color, and the x-axis label, and I'll show you how to make those changes directly in source code. You can access the source code for any specific visualization by opening the code drawer at the bottom of the configuration panel. Or you can view the full source code for the dashboard by clicking on the source button in the toolbar. You can see the source code for all your visualizations, data sources, and other aspects of your dashboard here. You can make edits directly before going back to the UI, but we're going to make those changes directly in the source code drawer so that we can see them take effect immediately. So we'll reopen the code drawer here, and I'm going to paste in source code options for changing background color, series color, and removing the x-axis label. And now it looks much better. Finally, we're going to set up a table view to see the temperature anomalies amongst our server racks. Just like with everything else, we'll attach the corresponding data source and then resize this visualization to fit in the remaining space. We want to color the temperature column so that we can see when things are at a good temperature or getting too hot. We can do this by selecting the column we want to format, and then we can go in to specify the colors. Again, we'll use light colors for better contrast, and we want to flip the order of these colors because we want the hotter colors to be red. Now we just need to adjust the thresholds, and that's all there is to it. Now we want to display the temperature for each rack to make it easier to monitor our server room. We'll start by adding a single value, associating the right data source, and then formatting it to be the desired size, to have the right unit, and to color the background, following the same colors and thresholds as we did in the temperature column of our table. I'm going to spare us from having to repeat this 14 more times by skipping ahead. But the key thing I want to note is that while all of these single value visualizations are using the same thresholds and colors, and we could do that by specifying it manually for each visualization, we also have the option to leverage dashboard defaults in the source code. That means specifying the thresholds and colors only once and having them apply to all of these visualizations. To learn more about how to do that specifically, please visit our documentation. The final steps are for us to polish up this dashboard. We're going to use a rectangle as the background for all of our right-hand side visualizations to make them look more grouped together and to provide a buffer between the background image and the charts. Next, we'll add a legend so that anyone else viewing this dashboard knows what temperature ranges each color corresponds to. Shapes and text boxes come in really handy when having to create a custom legend like this. And then finally, we're going to add a title for our server room image here, just utilizing another text box. And there you have it. Dashboard Studio makes it easy to create visually interesting dashboards that quickly relay pertinent information that we can now share with our colleagues.